Oh, hello! Fancy meeting you here. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Leaner with Laura. In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you a typical workout that I do, and I'm also going to be telling you about my new favorite workout split, which is full body. So I'm going to show you the workout, and it's going to have a voiceover explaining why full body is fabulous and why you might love it too. And then after that, I'm going to give you a little home gym tour, and I'm going to give you little tips and tricks for if you're somebody who's interested in potentially also getting your own little home gym. I'm going to tell you ways you can kind of cut back on things and like be able to buy less but do just as much. So that is going to be today's video. Let's go. We're going to start with our workout. Woo! Okay, so let us discuss the benefits of full body training. So my current workout split is 4 times a week, full body workouts. So I know for the longest time, I was not sold on the full body workout thing. I was just like, no. But now that I've been doing it, it's been about 12 weeks, I think. I have fallen in love. I have now been fully converted to being a lover of full body training. So before we kind of unpack the reasons why I'm loving it, we just want to make sure everybody understands some key terms that I will be using. So when I say volume, what that means is the number of hard sets you perform either per workout or per week. So if I do 4 sets of squats and 4 sets of deadlifts, that's 8 sets. So that is how much volume I am doing. A lot of people, women especially, really overdo it with the volume rather than focusing on having high quality sets and getting stronger. They just prioritize volume, they never gain strength, and they just plateau and don't see results. So that is something to keep in mind. Once you're not overdoing it with the volume, you can see so much better results because you recover. So that is the second thing to keep in mind before we dive into our full body discussion here. Recovery is essential. It is just as important as the workout itself. So if you are someone who's afraid to take rest days, afraid to not do like 3 trillion exercises a week, you should be afraid of, switch that around, because if you're not recovering, you are not going to see results. All right, so I'm very passionate about that topic. So let's dive in. So the main benefit of doing full body training is that you can spread out your weekly volume so you can have higher quality sets. So honestly, one of the best things about it is that it helps you with fatigue management and recovery more than anything else. So when you're deciding on a workout split, you want to have 3 things in place. So you want to have optimal volume, you want to have optimal recovery, and you want to be able to perform your exercises with a good amount of effort and intensity. So when it comes to volume, studies have shown that 10 to 20 sets a week is a good amount of volume for most muscle groups. Now, from there, you also need to consider how much volume you're doing per workout. So new data suggests that there is actually a per workout volume ceiling. So that can be anywhere from 5 to 10 sets per muscle, and anything above this can end up being crappy quality sets. People call it wasted sets, junk volume in terms of hypertrophy. Whereas if you split up your volume throughout the week, it decreases the likelihood of that happening. So you might think, oh, well, training a muscle group 2 days in a row will tire me out. But it can actually do the opposite, because you're just doing a few exercises per muscle group per workout. So it's not enough to completely hamper your recovery for your next workout. So you can give that exercise more focus and more effort. So it does make it easier to recover, because think about it. If you're doing a full leg day, Like you've got your squats, your deadlifts, your hip thrusts, your lunges, your leg curls. By the time you get to the end of that workout, you're so fatigued, and no matter how motivated you are, no matter how hard you try, you can't put as much effort as you would be when that volume is spread out through the week, because you're just too fatigued by that point. So it's not enough volume per workout to really hamper that recovery. Rather than doing leg day on one day, you're technically just spreading it out through the week. So when you first start full body training, there is going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. So initially, you won't want to go quite as heavy, and just to allow for proper recovery. But by the second or third week of full body training, a phenomenon called the repeated bout effect will kick in. And this just means that your body is adapting to the new stimulus and you learn to recover faster than before. Now, provided that you aren't overdoing it with volume or effort in the individual workouts, especially early on. Now, I have 100% seen this happen in myself. I know that when I would do, say, 2 leg days a week, by the end of that day, by the end of that leg day, I'd be wrecked. I'd be so fatigued because I put so much effort into each set. And like, say, the last exercise of my workout wouldn't be as good as it could be. Whereas now that I say I'll do like 2 difficult sets and 1 accessory movement per workout for legs. Obviously, I still do, like, say in this workout, for example, I didn't do that many leg exercises. So the exercises I did do, I'm able to put so much more into it, which in the end allows me to gain more muscle, which allows me to see better results. Now, if you're thinking, well, my goal is fat loss, not muscle gain, I have news for you. Muscle is going to help you with fat loss because, number 1, when you have muscle, you burn more calories than somebody who does not have muscle. And number 2, muscle is what you need to get that defined, toned look. So basically, muscle equals fat loss. I don't care what your goals are. Muscle is going to help you lose fat. So focus on getting stronger and gaining muscle. You will not bulk up as long as you are eating properly, aka in a caloric deficit, if your goal is fat loss. Duh. Now, when you're putting together full body workouts, it has to have some strategy. You're not going to do heavy back squats or deadlifts multiple days in a row because that's just stupid. You're not going to recover. So I usually have a few days that are lower rep and heavier, and then the in-between days are not as heavy. So it can take a little bit of experimentation and trial and error to see what will work best for you in terms of your recovery. But once you figure that out, you're golden. Now let us watch this clip here again with volume so you can see my stepdad and Baxter interrupt me.
It's beans!
Are you filming?
Yes.
Well, that ain't good.
I'm filming and I'm working out.
Sound and everything? So that's no good. I'm ruining it. Sorry.
So now that we went over the workout itself, I'm going to show you my warm-up and like how I warm up for full body workouts. So obviously I did this before the workout, but I feel like this is the less exciting part. So I'm showing it to you after the workout. So here we go. All right, so here I am. This is me doing plank shoulder taps. Now, I always include some type of core exercise in my warm-ups because a strong core can prevent injury, especially if you have back issues. It's just a good thing to have. Strong core, not the back issues. So yeah, that is why I always include 1 or 2 sets of a core exercise. So obviously, to get the most out of the exercise, you want to make sure your technique is on point. So for this, it's quality over quantity. So you don't want your hips twisting when you pick your arm up to tap your opposite shoulder. So don't let them twist to the side. Have them staying in line with the floor as much as you can. And then if they're starting to twist, then you've done enough reps. Take a rest and then start again. Okay, so then we move on to glute activation. So for this, I just do one set of 4 exercises for 15 to 20 reps, and it's just to warm up and activate the booty. So you don't want this to feel strenuous. You don't want to feel like fatigued or anything. It's just to warm up. So yeah, so I often will do squats, then a hip thrust movement pattern. So either like a glute bridge like this one or feet elevated glute bridge. Typically it's one of the two of those. And then I will move on to a kickback style movement and then an abduction style movement and ba-bam, there we go. That is a glute activation. So for right now, since a lot of people are working out at home, glute activation exercises may be very, very similar or the exact same as your actual workouts. So the difference is that when it's glute activation, you're not going anywhere close to failure, you're not pushing yourself that hard, whereas in your actual workout, you want to be doing enough reps so that you feel like you couldn't do that many more. So that's what going close to failure is. It means that if you had to do another rep with proper form, you couldn't. So yeah, that is the difference. Okay, so now we are just warming up our upper body, and that will be the conclusion of our warm-up. So this is a rotation. Now, I'm using the mini band, and it's looped around the bench, obviously, but if you don't have something to loop it around like that, you can literally just hold it with your other hand, and then just put your hand by your side so the band is anchored in a fixed position, and you're good to go. Then I'm doing a rear fly with my cables. So what we're doing here is just warming up the shoulders in multiple different angles. And again, with this one, you could even do resistance band pull-aparts. So with that, you'd just be holding the band with both hands and then just pulling it apart. And next, we're moving on to Y raises. So this is a great one just to keep your shoulders healthy. So first of all, you don't ever really need to use a lot of weight for this one. I'm using 2 pounds, and that honestly feels difficult. You could even do this with body weight just to really work on the movement and the range of motion, because what you want to do is hold and squeeze at the top. You want to think of really retracting your shoulder blades behind you and keeping the movement really controlled. So again, it's not about doing a ton of reps or super heavy. It's having a really high quality movement, and getting better at these is something that can help even during your actual workouts.
All right, and the workout is done. Ow, it hurts to lift my arms and it hurts to hold the phone up. It is time for the home gym tour. Woo! Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to run over each piece of equipment and the different purposes that each thing can be used for, because there's certain things you could do so you could have less but be able to do the same things that I'm doing in my workouts. So let us begin. Let us begin. The main attraction is the squat rack. Woo, woo, woo. So, fun fact, before I had the squat rack, I did have the bar. I had the benches, both benches, and I had the plates as well. But obviously you're limited, because if you want to do like a heavy-ish lower body exercise, sorry, my hand is shaking from my workout. If you want to do like a heavy lower body exercise, you're limited to what you can lift up off the floor. So you can still make do with that by doing higher rep, but obviously it expanded my options when I got the squat rack. So I like this one. I wanted, there were ones that were more flimsy, and I really liked this one because it still has like the safeties, like as if I'm at the gym. Also, if you're buying a squat rack, try it, look at how it lines up for your height, because there were some other ones that looked decent, but they were a really awkward height for me. Like the bar would have either sat too high or too low, and I was like, ooh, we can't have that. So I made sure I had one that was decently, at a good height for me. And then also, a really nice feature this one had was the chin-up bar. The only thing is, my head almost hits, or pretty much, if I'm not careful, my head does hit the ceiling. And I think in my chin-ups that I filmed in this workout, actually my head did hit the ceiling one time. So you definitely do have to be careful of that. So if you're buying a squat rack with a chin-up bar, just think about your ceiling height. I actually, when I first picked it up and we were assembling it, I was like, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to do chin-ups, but then it was fine. So, that is the wonderful benefit of a squat rack, obviously. Now, what you could do is you technically don't need to buy separate benches for bench press, because instead, just set the squat rack up as a bench. So you would just lower that, and then you would put the bench in the squat rack, and then you could bench in the squat rack. So then that would save, you wouldn't have to buy all this extra stuff. Like I said, I already had these. I bought them online, like, or not me, but my stepdad found them online, like, for pretty cheap years ago. So yeah, that is a way you could streamline things. You could just bench in the squat rack. Now, the next thing is the stepper. So this was a huge one for me, but here's the reason why. So the reason why the stepper was a must-have for me is because this bench is really high. Like, it's above my knee. Ooh. Like, it's above my knee, and for hip thrusts, that is way too high. I've tried it before, and my back pain was, like, unbelievable. So what you could do is just make sure you don't buy a bench too high, because even for bench press, honestly, I wish it was a little bit lower, because it's high. But it's all right, I'll make do. So yeah, that is another thing. If you got a low enough bench, you'd be able to do hip thrusts, you'd be able to do bench press, you could still do step ups, you could do split squats. Now, I do like having the stepper because I like to do deficit lunges. So that's when, like, your front foot is up and then you're lunging. It's a weird angle. I love that, but you could do those on something else. Like, you could do them on stairs. You could put your front foot elevated on a stair. So I feel like if you really wanted to get a lot of bang for your buck, you technically could just get a squat rack, a bar, a fairly low bench so you can comfortably hip thrust on it, and try to get the bench, like, adjustable. Like, this one here is not low, so that's why I haven't really spoken about it, but this, like, it technically adjusts, so because then you could do, like, incline stuff if you wanted. But again, that wouldn't be, like, a big deal. If you couldn't do incline stuff and you had to just get a flat bench, it wouldn't be a big deal. So yeah, those are, like, the basics in terms of, like, the barbell family. Yeah, and then, for the steppers, I feel like I should go over this. Hip thrust, I like to do 4 risers per side. So yeah. And then, okay, so next thing that I have is, okay, wait. I've got these little tiny dumbbells for, like, warming up. I actually bought them for a video as a joke once, and now I have them. And then I have, like, you can get, like, adjustable dumbbells like these. These are great because what you could do is, like, attach the plates onto them, and then you would add the clamps on. It's like mini barbells, but the only problem is mine, it doesn't seem to stay. So, like, I can't put, like, a 25 pounder on there because these just don't seem to be holding it. So for me, I'm limited with these, but in theory, these are a good thing to have. And then I have a 15-pound dumbbell set and a 10-pound dumbbell set. So if you're not getting adjustable dumbbells and you're trying to choose what weight you should get, like, say if you have limited, like, you're not just gonna buy every single range of dumbbells. What I did, well, I mean, again, I already had the 10s, but the 15s were an addition because for lateral raises, that is a favorite exercise of mine. And if I want to do it in, like, a moderate rep range, like 10-ish reps, I use 15s. So for me, that was, like, a must-have because I just love lateral raises. I don't want to not do them. So yeah, 15-pound dumbbells were, like, just changed everything. They just took my little home gym from, like, here to here. And then the 10s are nice too, just for if I want to do, like, some higher rep options as well. So basically, if you're trying to decide what weights for dumbbells you want to get, think of if there's any exercises you really, really want to be able to do, and then think about what weight you typically use for that exercise. Because then obviously this can still be reused. Like I can do like higher rep lunges, I can do other like little high rep things, because then for legs, obviously I have the option of using the bar. So that's what you kind of want to do. You just want to think of your specific goals, what you want to do more of, and then kind of tailor the equipment around that. And like I said, always just think about what weights you typically would use for things. Like I'm not going to only buy like 5 pounds and 50 pounds, because like that would just be a weird increment for me. Like it wouldn't make much sense. So yeah. And then a really great thing to have too is a long resistance band. Ba-bow. And then mini bands, of course, little mini bands. And what else? Yoga mat, I've got, a bar pad too. If you are doing heavy hip thrusts, you need a bar pad. And I mean, I briefly brought this up, but you'll need, if you're having a barbell, you probably need these. And yeah, so my weight plates go up to only 305 pounds. Not that I lift that much all the time, but for glute bridges, I can do that for like 5 to 8 reps. So that actually is like, I don't have enough weight. I'm too strong. So, so what do I have? I have I have a set of 45s. I have a set of 35s, set of 25s, one set of 10s, and then like a bunch of 5s. And then I do have, what I'm really missing here is a set of 2.5 pounds, because I thought maybe these are 1 pound each, because when it's like my lifts, like any lift really, sometimes I like to just go up in a 2.5 pound per side, aka 5 pounds, a 5 pound increment, and I don't have that option anymore. So yeah, a 2.5 pound plate is something I would suggest people get. And then the other thing I've got is foam roller. So foam roller, this is like a normal person foam roller. I use this like pipe because my muscles are so used to it by now that I don't feel it unless I use that. And then we have this this preacher curl's like super old. Nobody really uses it. So that's it for that. And oh yeah, and then we just have the cardio stuff. Yeah, so the treadmill is free. That's pretty cool. That bike is ancient. It is just ancient. So yeah. Woohoo! Oh, and this. So if you get like a little mirror like this is like, I don't know, I swear you could get this for like $10 from like Walmart or something. It's really nice because then when I'm doing squats, I can like kind of see my form. It really helps me personally. So, ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. And that is the conclusion of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you did, and I will see you in the next one. Leaner with Laura, leaner with Laura.